I'm Josh.
And I'm Jen. Welcome to the Gospel Shaped Family Podcast.
Each episode brings biblical wisdom and practical conversations on parenting, marriage, and family. And we discuss how to disciple the next generation with a biblical worldview.
Whether you're raising children, shepherding a church, or longing to build a legacy of faith in your home, this podcast is for you.
Join us as we explore how to shape hearts, homes, and churches around the gospel, one conversation at a time.
Hey, friends. Welcome back to the Gospel Shaped Family Podcast.
Hey, everyone. And hey, Jed.
Hey, Josh. How's it going?
Good. Let's go. Good.
Good. Going good.
Yeah. What's our deal today?
Okay. Well, today is such a great day. We are talking about raw milk, real milk, and why our family has made the decision to drink real milk.
Real milk. Isn't what we buy in the store real milk?
You would think so, but guess what? Not all the time.
Oh,
I
interesting.
know.
Okay.
I know. There's
I'm here for
variation.
this.
I know. It's going to be very fun.
So everybody that's seeing this, tuning in right now and be like, should I listen to this whole episode? Why should they tune in and listen?
Why should they turn in
Yeah,
and
raw
listen?
milk, I don't know. Why? Yeah.
I think because it's different, right? I think it's different. It's challenging. It Drinking raw milk is the opposite of the traditional narrative that says, oh, if you want milk, you just go to the grocery store and pick out a plastic jug and, lug it home and it's good in your refrigerator for 2 months or I don't know how long, but it's different. It's different.
So this is we're not told the true narrative with a lot of the nutritional stuff we hear in online and in the media.
Yeah.
So that's coming, right?
Yeah,
We'll share it.
it's different, it's new, and sometimes it's fun. At least I like hearing a lot of perspectives. I like hearing something that's going to challenge me mentally and that's going to be like, ooh, I never thought about that.
This will do that
That's
today.
one of
Yeah.
my favorite things in the world, to be like, ooh, I never thought about that.
Okay,
So
good.
hopefully that'll be something that happens today. Maybe you've never even thought about it, or maybe you have. I don't know. But yeah, so that's where we're going today.
Good. I like that.
Yes. So, Josh, tell us about your experiences with dairy as a child. That's the funniest question.
Dairy. Hi.
Josh, did you have issues with dairy as a child?
Well, yes, I did.
God.
Yeah. There's the unfiltered, uncensored. Yes, I did. I love dairy.
I know you do. I know.
I milk and cheese and everything dairy
Yum.
I love. I don't know why, but I always have. And I used to get home from school I remember as a grade school kid, and I would pull out the milk from the fridge and pour glasses and just
Chug
chug
it?
it, drink it. I love it. And what ended up happening was my body revolted when I was a grade school age kid, and I'd get really, really, really bad stomach aches, and it would make me really sick when I drank and had literally any dairy. My body just couldn't handle it. And so, my parents brought me into all the testing and everything I went through as a kid, and the doctors told me, your son is allergic to everything dairy and can't have any anymore. This was we're almost 50, so this was a long time ago. You didn't hear this very often back when I was, at this point in life. So I was literally the only kid I knew that couldn't eat dairy. So we'd go and, we'd have pizza as a family, and I'd have to take the cheese off it, and I'd have it'd be
That was before, dairy-free cheese.
yeah, they
That's
didn't
a
have
thing
that.
now, but
Yeah.
ugh,
But
I feel
it'd be
that's
like that.
gross.
I'd
No
have to
offense, anyone.
if I wanted cereal, it would be dry cereal, and you'd eat it with, it was,
You shouldn't have been eating that anyways.
well, this was my life. So that was 2 years of my life. No dairy at all. And if I
Wow.
ate even a little bit of cheese on something, my whole body would just react.
Mm-hmm.
And after a few years, the doctors said, we're going to try to reintroduce dairy into your system. And my family started calling it my milk day once a week. And I was so excited as a kid for my milk day.
Milk day.
And I would get 1 cup of milk, which what is that, like 8 ounces or something?
Yeah, 1 cup is 8 ounces,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I always used that on cereal because that's what I would like, I'd have
Yeah,
a
you loved
little
it.
teeny bowl of cereal with 8 ounces of milk, I'd drink the whole thing, it was like, "Oh, man," I'd eat the bowl of cereal, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's all I get for a whole week," and look
Sad.
forward to the next week. Well, it slowly kinda reconditioned my body to be able to manage low doses of dairy,
Mhm.
and it was funny because anytime I would have like, I could have about a cup or so of or equivalent of dairy, a day is what my body could end up handling as time went. But if I had more than that, my body again would like it would hurt and revolt, and
Yeah.
I couldn't. I just and it was as I got bigger and older, I got a little more sense, or I could handle a little bit more, but it's still all the way into my adult years. I had to be careful how much
Mhm.
dairy I ate. Fast forward to when we bought the farm, I can drink raw milk without any issues at all, like
Yeah.
quantity levels,
Yeah.
pain levels. And so that was a really big realization for us that, wow, this like, it's not the milk that was the problem or the dairy, it was the process that of pasteurization that it
Mhm.
put, and it literally changed that to a form that my body, whatever, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
my body couldn't handle that in the quantities I was partaking, and so that was me as a kid, and we actually have a lot of people that come out to the farm
Yep.
with similar kinds of issues with dairy, and, we recently had somebody that came out and said, "I haven't been able to drink milk for any dairy for 10 years,"
Yeah.
and, while we watched them drink the milk, and they were like, "Yeah," the first
Yay!
time and that happens all the
All the
time. The
time.
dairy issue that a lot of people have, they're surprised to realize it's actually not dairy that's the problem, it's the
Yeah.
whole
It's the content of the dairy that they're consuming.
it's the well, the process that
Yeah.
it changed as we were talking about making it safe, which you'll talk about, it actually changes the milk consistency and nature of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us, so we moved to the farm, and tell us
Yeah.
how we ended up with, with raw milk
It
here.
was kind of a roundabout thing. So we moved out here to the farm, and a friend of mine, my friend Anna, who is like wanting to be a homesteader. So she is so on top of everything. Like they bought land and they're going to be like building their dream homestead, but in the meantime while they're waiting for that, she is like doing all the things, like milling her own grains and cooking from scratch and growing food. I mean, she is on top of it. Like impressive. And so she said to me, "Oh, you bought your farm. I heard that there's a gal who's within driving distance of you who sells raw milk." And so she gave me this gal's name. And so I was like, I didn't really think anything much of it. But then I just kind of thought for fun that we would try it. Why not? So I called this gal and I drove out to her farm. It was not a big farm, just super cute. She was milking 2 Jersey cows. And I think we got 2 jars of milk from her. And I said, "I don't know if I'll be back. I don't," I was like, "We're gonna go home and try this." And so she was like, "Yeah, no problem. Have fun. Try the milk." And I kind of thought, well, maybe that would be it. So we came home and we brought home the milk and, it's white. And we all stood at the kitchen island, all 7 of us. And we like analyzed it, we looked at it, we smelled it, we like, shook it up in the jar. And then we did like a unison family taste test. So we poured it and we were like, "Cheers to the milk." And we clinked our glasses and we drank it. And then we were like, "Dude, this is delicious. This is delicious." And so then I ended up calling this gal back and I then was picking up, like, between 6 and 8 jars of milk every single
Half
week,
gallon jars, yeah.
half-gallon jars of milk every single week from her. So then we were doing this, one thing led to another, and then we just kind of said that's a long story, but then we ended up purchasing our 2 first Jersey cows, A2, Jersey cows, and we didn't know anything about I didn't know how to milk a cow. I didn't know how to do anything. But yeah, so that we got Dolly and Coco, and they um then had calves, which again, we didn't know anything about that, but they have to have a calf in order to milk. And then it was trial by fire. We literally went from like, hey, let's try this to boom, I'm milking 3 cows. So
Mhm.
it's been fun.
That's been fun.
It's been fun, and
So we've been drinking raw milk now for, like, 4 years.
yeah, 4 years.
Yeah. And how many times have you gotten sick? Anybody in our house?
0.
0
We've
times.
never gotten sick.
Never sick from it,
Mm-mm.
yep. The health is a big question. Like, if you, like, developed any, like, 3rd legs or arms
We're
or
good.
no, we're good,
We're
okay.
good, all normal. All
Alright,
normal.
that's good.
Y
Alright, well, jump us into, why raw milk?
Why raw milk,
Yeah.
Josh? Well, raw milk is a real food that has stood the test of time.
Yes. So, it's just helpful to to step back from our own context here and think about the reality that raw milk's not new. What
Mhm.
is new is actually the form of milk as it being homogenized and pasteurized. It stood the test of time for thousands and thousands
Yeah.
of years, and people have been consuming raw milk. And um, we even if we even think back to scripture and, as Christians, we get a lot of guidance from the Bible about the how to of living, and this is true of food as well.
Mhm.
There's two passages we wanted to point out to you. One's from Deuteronomy 32:14, and this is talking about Jacob. I'm just going to read it. It says, "He made him ride on the high places of the land, and he ate the produce of the field." And he suckled with him the honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock, curds from the herd, and milk from the flock, with fat of lambs, with the very finest of the wheat, and you drank foaming wine made from the blood of the grape. And so you starting to see the kind of what's the norm in what they ate at the time, but you notice milk from the flock, goats, sheep, as well as from cows, and then curds, obviously cheese from the herd.
Mhm.
This was just the norm. This was Jacob, of course, in the Bible. And then the other passage, Isaiah 7:21 through 22, it says, "In that day, a man will keep alive a young cow and 2 sheep, and because of the abundance of the milk that they will give, he will eat curds. For everyone who is left in the land will eat curds and honey."
That's
So
delicious. Actually, today, like, curds and honey are a delicious combo.
really good. Yeah, but you just see this is talked about scripturally just kind of as the norm, like,
Yeah.
raw milk, it's a good thing, it's a normal thing, and
Yeah.
somehow it's become, this abnormal, scary,
Yeah.
kinda deal, and that's new, and there's reasons for that with the dairy industry
Yeah.
and kind of big ag. They benefit from controlling, having a monopoly around the milk industry.
Mhm.
And, um, we live in Minnesota. There's a lot of regulations, a ton of regulations around food. We think we're in a free country,
Mm,
but there's so much food. There's a lack of food freedom. And this is one area
yeah.
where we should be able to even choose our own food, but another issue entirely. But raw milk has stood the test of time. And so that's a helpful piece for us to simply recognize.
Yeah. Yeah, so many biblical references, these lambs flowing with milk and honey, and so, yeah, it's good, it's good. The Bible gives us what we need for all areas of life. Alright, the next one would be that grass-fed, pasture-raised raw milk is good for your body, and nutritionally, it is a different food than traditional pasteurized milk, and here's what I mean by that. So, milk in its purest form. So, you can call it raw milk, you can call it real milk, you can call it whatever you want, but it is a whole food. And so, the milk itself is full of enzymes and bacteria and digestive enzymes that are alive. So, if you just think practically about the milk itself, so before it is milked, so let's say you're like thinking about your animal before it's milked. the milk is actually in the udder of the cow. It's the same for a goat. So before you milk the animal, the milk is there in the udder and it has these God-given digestive enzymes and bacteria that keep it safe. And so then when it's ingested, it's so good for you. Like it's good for your microbiome, it's good for your gut health. It's just good for your body in general. So there's that. And then also, real milk, raw milk as it comes, has a lot of healthy fat to it. So, in fact, I have a jar of milk. We could talk milk fat. If
Sure,
you're
pull it,
watching on YouTube,
pull it.
you can see this. Let me grab it. Okay. I'll move this over. It's maybe hard to see. Okay, so this is a jar. This is a
Just
half
hold it up.
gallon jar of milk.
You want me to hold it
Yeah,
up?
you hold. Can you see? Okay, so this was milk that I milked a few days ago, and
There's
this is a
our
half
number
gallon
2.
jar. We write the dates on with like a dry erase marker. But you can see like right here that there is a cream line. So what happens is that there is healthy
Which is
fat.
on if you're not watching, you're just listening. Right
Yeah.
now, that's maybe a fifth or so of the jar that's cream. And different times of the year, it'll be
Oh
like a
man.
third of it.
Sometimes we get so much cream. At this time of year, it's like
Warm, yeah,
late,
colder
yeah,
months,
colder months,
a
just
little
different cow
less. But
diet,
yeah, keep
but
going.
they get
Sorry.
less cream. But the cream is healthy fat, and so your body needs healthy fat, and so it's just so wonderful for you. So that versus pasteurized, homogenized milk, you lose this fat concentration and you lose the separation. So yeah, but raw milk is a great way to consume a lot of minerals. It has protein, it has carbs, it has fat, it has micronutrients such as like magnesium and iron and zinc and iodine, calcium, sodium. I mean, it's just packed full. It really is a superfood. And if you think you can take a newborn baby calf, which weighs, I don't know, how much does a calf weigh? Our Jersey calves, 100 pounds when they're born. And just on milk alone, grow that animal into literally a 12, 13, 1,400 pound animal. It is just, and it's nutritionally complete. It's just a superfood. It's so good for your body.
We were studying as a family. We studied through 1 Peter
Oh
2
yeah, Bible study
last
last night.
night, and in 1 Peter 2, it talks about how new Christians, like babies, crave
Pure.
pure spiritual milk.
Yeah,
And it's interesting that word pure, um, literally, like the Bible is talking about milk, like what it's a metaphor for growing to a godly, mature,
yeah,
complete Christian, a follower of Christ. And what's the example that God decides to use for how to do that? It's like pure milk. Like
yeah,
literally, this all that we need to grow up into a godly, essentially the Bible, God's word is the comparison for that pure milk. As you read a few verses later, but just that, that kind of example,
yeah,
this pure milk does, just like in life with a calf or even with a child, does the
mhm.
same thing God's word does for human beings. So, anyways, this is the pure,
Pure milk!
physical milk,
There
right? There
it
you
is!
go. Yep, the pure physical milk.
I milked that myself, yes.
We want to take a break and thank our sponsor, Renew a Nation. If you've benefited from the Gospel Shaped Family podcast, consider hopping online and making a tax-deductible donation at renewanation.org today. Your generous donations make this podcast possible and further our work to help children develop a biblical worldview. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, you can support us by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. This helps us grow and reach more families with a biblical worldview. Now back to the show.
Next up is the fact that raw milk from proper sourcing is safe and it is legal. So we already kind of talked about how it is safe. It has protective enzymes in it. And milk in and of itself, like raw milk as it's milked, is safe. Pasteurization was not created to make milk safe. Pasteurization was actually created in the 1860s, and it was created as a method to preserve wine, to make wine last a little longer. And it wasn't until the 1880s that that pasteurization process was applied to cow's milk. When we had farmers who were lazy and unhygienic, we saw in that time period people who were used to milking a cow, but then we had the urbanization of so many cities. So even like if you look at most major cities back in the day, they had cows. They had cows, backyard cows in the city, and those cows were, you know, in terrible living conditions and being fed byproducts and waste products from breweries and all sorts of things. So that combination of just really, I mean, I would go as far as saying inhumane, um, terrible animal husbandry practices is what led to the problems that are now considered infamous in milk, which led to pasteurization. And so, um, pasteurization was never meant to keep milk safe. It was for preservation
It
purposes.
would extend the shelf
It
life.
would extend the shelf life.
But it's so what explain what pasteurization is.
So, pasteurization is the process of heating milk. So, the milk is heated. And I don't remember the exact number. I want to say it's like 160 degrees. Is that the number? And so, what it does is the thought is that you're going to heat your milk to a certain temperature, and then that's going to kill any bad pathogens or things in the milk. The problem is that when you kill anything that could be potentially hazardous, you're killing all the good stuff
Y'all
too.
killing all the good stuff. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So you're getting essentially a sterile milk.
Yeah.
Is what
You're getting dead
you're
milk.
getting dead milk because
Yeah.
you're killing the good with the bad, and that's
Yeah.
the problem with
Yep.
pasteurization.
And then there's pasteurization and then there's ultra pasteurization where milk is heated even hotter. So, I mean, when you're at the grocery store, you could even look at your labels like, is your milk pasteurized? Is your milk lightly pasteurized? Is your milk ultra pasteurized? If it says ultra pasteurized, run away, run away.
So the problem though with pasteurization then is it actually allows for farmers to have milk that is um,
Yeah.
and is not fully safe
Yeah.
because they know, well, I can have some fudge room here essentially
Yeah.
because it's going to be pasteurized. So versus unpasteurized milk,
Yeah.
raw milk, especially in small herds and in
Mhm.
like what we're doing, you can see really quickly
Mm.
if there's a problem with your milk. And a lot of the milk, so the milk that we buy in stores, if we purchase any, a lot of it is they go in bulk tanks. So you'll have,
It's milked from the cow and it goes right into a huge tank.
you might have a farm. Let's say you have farms are getting bigger and bigger, but let's say you have a farm that has 100 cows. They
Mhm.
all go in one big bulk tank. So your milk that you're drinking is not from like a cow. It's from on the small side, like probably hundreds and more than likely thousands, because
Thousands.
then it goes from that one farm's bulk tank into the truck to come pick it up, which is from a gazillion farms. And
Yeah.
then what happens if you have a sick cow? You can hide it through the volume of mixing with all the other cows
Yeah.
versus so small farm versus big farm. And this is of course a generalization. There are like what's the it's like not Golden Valley. What is it? Hidden Valley?
Organic
Or
Valley.
Organic Valley. We've been to a few of those
Love
farms.
those farms.
They're small farms
Oh, they're
typically.
so beautiful.
There's different ways in which this happened. Organic Valley has tried to change that. And if we were buying milk from the store, that's what we end up buying.
Always
We've
Organic
seen
Valley.
those
We've
farms.
seen them.
They try to, and the general farmer, just to be fair to farmers, they're not
They're
like
doing their
trying
best.
to, yeah, they're
Yeah.
not trying to like sneak
No.
unhealthy things into the food, but it allows for there's a certain level of fecal matter that can be in. There's a
Yep.
certain level of, they have these levels in
Where
the
it's considered acceptable.
acceptable, and you can you can hide that with the
Yeah.
pasteurization process.
Yeah.
Like, you can't guarantee you can't do that with raw milk. There's no you
No.
what you get is what you
Mm-mm.
see.
Well, and I'll say too, so the the wonderful thing about if you were to purchase raw milk from a farmer, the farmer, in 99% of the scenarios, knows their animals. So they know their animals' health. They can look at their animals and assess, are they feeling well? My guess is that farmers have their hands on the udders of their animals, which sounds ridiculous, but they're like feeling those udders and like knowing if something is wrong, knowing if the udder is full, is the udder warm? And then the other thing with knowing your farmer who knows their animal so well is that after you milk a cow, um, when milk, because milk is then filtered, so we filter our milk and then it's rapid chilled. In the filtering process, you can like physically see if there's anything wrong with the milk. So if your cow isn't feeling well, if your cow's got an infection, if your cow's got anything, it will show up in the milk and it is so obvious.
Mhm.
And then another thing that a lot of small
Which is
farmers do,
hidden
it's hidden if
in
it goes
masses.
straight
Yep.
to a bulk tank. It's never seen. And then two, Mm, every small farmer that I know does milk component testing, and this is now, like, widely available to small farmers that you can send your milk in the mail to a professional lab, and they will test your milk for somatic cell count and what's your fat and what's your protein. You can even have, like, a complete 16 panel done, which will culture your milk for any anything, any bacteria. So there is complete transparency there if you want it. Um,
And we send ours
we
in
send ours
on a
in
regular
on a
basis.
regular
Yep.
basis and just so we know and it's very freeing. So you
Mhm.
can know, but it's very safe. So
And
it's safe if you have the right
there's
farmer.
actually studies that have been done on, milk on people who have died from milk, and there are a lot more people who have died from pasteurized milk
Oh yeah.
than raw milk.
Uh-huh.
And you can look up these studies and
And people who've died from eating, like, unwashed vegetables versus just eating raw milk. I mean, it's crazy.
yep.
So, raw milk in America is not illegal. It is legal, in all states, but there's just, rules and regulations about how you can get your milk. In Minnesota, the law is that milk can only be sold on farm, like, you have to pick it up on a farm, and I'm not opposed to that. I think it's been fine. I mean, would we love to see raw milk in every single grocery store?
Yes.
Yes.
It
But
should
are
be.
we
And it
grateful?
is in a lot of places, like in
Yeah,
California, you
in
can
some
buy it
states, yeah,
right in the store.
but we're grateful to have access.
So the problem in so a lot of these regulations though go away if the exchange of money goes away.
Yep.
And so it's interestingly the regulations around raw milk are often the most stringent in the places in the states that have the
Mm,
largest dairies
yep,
around, and Minnesota is one of those. And so but if we if we didn't weren't selling this milk and we wanted to just give it away, it can leave our farm. We can give it away for so that that it's not a safety issue when
yeah,
those kind of requirements aren't just in general, they just apply to dollars. And
yeah.
so it's a big it's a big competition piece for the dairy
Oh, yeah,
industry with the raw milk industry. And so if you can have your lobbyists create laws
yeah,
to limit the sale, your competition, why would you not want to do that? And that's partially
true.
what has happened.
Yeah.
We recently went to England, and
Yes.
a lot of the European countries, their food laws are totally different than the
Yep.
U.S. And raw milk is one of those
Yeah.
areas. Like in England, when we were just out and about, we were in
Borough
some
Market.
markets. You could buy raw milk just like you buy, um,
Yeah,
pasteurized milk here in the U.S. and all over the place. So
we
we'd
did.
buy it and drink it. And it's interesting that, if safety was the issue,
Yeah.
how come it's not an issue in other countries? Why is
Mhm.
it just the case here? It's because it's not the issue.
Yeah,
There's other factors there. It's an economic thing that
yeah.
is that's limiting it.
Yeah. So
Um,
you can find milk, if you wanna find milk that's safe, there's a really great website called realmilk.com, and I believe this was started by the Weston A. Price Foundation, but you can look up every single state in the United States, and it'll show you how to get milk, how to get real milk. I looked it up earlier this week, and I wanna say in Minnesota, there was, like, 95
Really, that many?
locations.
That's a lot.
It was amazing. I was like, "What? This is an explosion of places." But yeah, it's safe, and you
It
can
is
get it.
safe, although as farmers, we know friends who have been raided, because
Yeah.
of raw milk. I mean, it's a like, as a
Eyes are on you if you are.
yes, and so there's a reality of, even with real milk, it's a bit of a risk for a farmer to put themselves
It's a
out there
huge
like that
risk.
because of the even um, when you're following the requirements, like in Minnesota, they're it's a challenge sometimes just to
Sad.
yeah, yeah.
Sad.
All right, the next reason, the fourth reason for us is that real milk is delicious, as Jen has mentioned.
Mhm.
It tastes we sometimes say at our house, it literally tastes like you're drinking ice cream.
It's so good.
It is so sweet, it is so yummy. And raw milk, it ends up tasting different based on the breed of the cow
Mhm.
and what the cow is fed.
Yep.
And so we've tried raw milk from different breeds, and our favorite is Jersey's.
Yep.
It is just a sweeter milk, and we give certain vitamins and nutrients and minerals to the cow to add. Like our milk doesn't have like a
Cowy
cow taste.
taste. We've had some raw milk that has tasted cowy. I don't even know how you get milk that tastes cowy. Ours has never tasted
But
that way.
part of it's what they're fed, and so
Yeah.
we feed certain things to avoid that, and, ours is a cream top, so if you wanna leave the cream in, you shake it up, and it's
Mhm.
just really rich, really delicious, or we skim the cream often for our coffee, that's what we are putting in it in the morning, or
Yum.
if we wanna make homemade ice cream,
Butter.
butter, there's so many wonderful things you can make with cream and with the milk. We bake with it, cook with it. It enhances the
I
flavor.
make a lot of yogurt too.
Yeah, Jen makes oat yogurt all the time with
Yep.
it. There's so many yummy things, but it is delicious. If you've never tried raw milk, our encouragement would be give it a shot. I
Yep.
think you'll be surprised. It
It's
is
so good.
yeah, just the pasteurization process takes a lot of the flavor out of milk, and when I liked milk as a kid and thought it was good, now that I'm drinking raw milk, it's like, "Oh, man, it's like 10 times as good, even better."
Sometimes when I don't wanna go out and milk the cow, I'm like, everyone's gonna be really happy I did this, because everybody just guzzles. So, yeah, so our final thing is we just feel good. We feel good. We feel great. We've seen a difference in our family, once we've started incorporating raw milk. So, one of our sons has really bad allergies, and his allergies have gone down so much, like, very significantly since we started introducing raw milk. I mean, his allergies were so bad that at one point, like, we kept bees in order to try to, like, raise our own honey to, like, help him, but really
To
because
eat the food,
to
the
eat
pollens
the
around,
pollen to,
yep.
like, help him, but really, our cows are eating grass that's local, and so it has helped his allergies. We've never had a broken bone. We have only had, I think, 1 cavity in our kids since, since we've switched to raw milk. So literally from like dental to energy to allergies, the milk has really made such a huge difference in our overall diet, and like you're just giving your family a complete food, built-in probiotics, all the
It's
things.
considered a
It's
superfood.
considered a superfood, so
Yep.
you could literally either spend a ton of money on supplements, like, why are you buying supplements? Just buy food that has the ingredients in all the
Mhm.
supplements. It's a really easy
Yeah,
decision.
our family, not just feeling good, but our health has been noticeably better.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that I haven't been sick in at least a year. I
Like cold
literally
and flu,
none of
yeah.
that. I think I got the sniffles one day, and that's really been it this whole last year. Our kids, we haven't none of them have gotten the barfs
The
in
barfs
in
are the worst.
years, which is
We
great.
have
That's the worst.
I can tell you the last time I threw up, I hate that so much.
And
It was
we'll
like 10 years
we our kids still once in a while do get sick.
Yeah,
Um, it tends to be now our like, college-aged kids who are
yeah.
just running really hard.
They just work so
But
hard.
like our, grade school and early teens, they're rarely sick at
Very
this
rare.
point,
Yeah.
rarely sick, and so
And they can have, like, all their friends get sick, and they don't really get sick.
yeah, and there's an old saying that what you don't pay for in your food, you pay for at the doctor, and so, we've seen that. Our food expenses have been a little higher
Mhm.
to eat whole, real, organic, foods. We're paying for we don't pay for this milk, but we pay for the feed
And the
or the
hay.
hay, and the minerals, to give our cows. But our medical bills and our dental bills have been,
So
very
low.
almost non-existent
Yeah.
for a number of years now, which has been great. We
Yep.
end up paying, you know, m medical insurance or whatever it is. You're
Yeah.
looking at it, you're like, "Ah, we're
I
probably
know.
not gonna use this." Kind
I
of a
know, it's
ridiculous
gotta
thing.
have it though.
Gotta have it though, yeah, because we're
Although
forced to.
there is, like, a whole, like, undercurrent of, like, young people who are, like, getting rid of health insurance. That could be a whole 'nother thing to talk about it. That is, like, a whole thing, and I'm like, "Ooh, maybe I'm just, like, old and think you need it," but I think you need it. Anyways, okay.
Yes. All right. So let's end. We're gonna switch to a different segment. Ask Josh and
Yes,
Jen.
yes.
So this is a question that we got specific to food, not
Mhm.
necessarily raw milk, but one of the a parent asked, "How can we monitor our child's nutritional input when the child has temptations such as vending machines at school,
Hmm.
when they're offered candy out of the house, and junky snacks?" I mean, this is a challenge, isn't it?
We deal with
When
this.
your kids are gone, and sports teams, or church, even,
Our church even has vending machines.
yeah, all over the place. It's like unhealthy stuff all the time. How do we navigate this?
Oh, we've totally navigated this a bunch. I feel like it doesn't really end, it's a lot of ongoing conversations. But I think you just need to, like, instill values in them about, like, this is what food is good. Give your kids the best food. Give them delicious, home cooked, real food. And then when they go to eat that stuff, they'll say, it's not very good. It doesn't taste great. Give them something good to compare it to. In the end, real food, home cooked food that's delicious will win out. Um, we've been intentional about just like providing good on the go snacks that our kids can take with them. So, like, we'll buy Chomps beef sticks and we'll buy, that's it bars, and we'll buy tons of snacks that are healthy and portable, like, just, like, better for you options than what's in the vending machine. And then, like, I mean, you could always take away their cash, like,
Uh,
I don't know. What do you think?
I think once in a while it's okay.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah,
like,
totally, yeah.
don't be,
You don't wanna
I
be
think
crazy
it's
about this. No.
especially when you're out and about, that it's really easy to monitor at home, kind of food quality levels. Once you leave the house, it gets a lot obviously a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
And we have what's called the 90-10 rule. And
Yeah.
so 90% of the time we eat really healthy, and that's
Uh-huh.
mostly at home. The 10% is when you're out and about with other people. You don't want to be rude. And then once
No.
in a while, it's okay to eat the Snickers bar or have the can of Coke or the
Yeah.
thing that, it's like, all right, I'm eating and what I'm eating's not healthy. It's a bunch of chemicals and other things. Once in a while, that's okay.
Yeah.
So we give that allowance to our kids to have a little bit of flexibility in their diet, once in a while, especially when they're out of the house.
Yeah.
If it's a regular occurring thing, like a weekly basis, then we want to have some conversations around some expectations
Yeah.
around how do you navigate this? Let's have a conversation. So
Yeah.
sometimes for us, like at church, it would be on a Sunday morning if you're getting offered a sucker,
Mhm.
let's provide an alternative. So we'll buy the Yum
Those
suckers,
organic ones.
organic suckers, and we'll just bring one with so
Yeah.
that they can have a different alternative instead.
Yeah.
If
Or like, oh,
Go
like
ahead.
on Sunday, in our daughter's Sunday school class, they give out donuts every week at the end of class. I don't know what you have to do to get the donut, but when they're leaving, they're like, "Hey, you want a donut? You want a donut?" And I remember like the first week, Emily was like, "Yeah, I'll take a donut," but then she was like, I'm not eating that." And so she just self-selected that because she was like, "I didn't like how I felt after I ate that."
Yeah,
Um,
we have tried to allow our kids to develop their values in this
yeah,
area, and if I think this is true of anything in life. If you just are rigid with some of these areas, kids tend to reject
it's not
that,
worth it.
and so it's been interesting as we've given our kids a little bit of flexibility in the food
Yeah.
area to make some of those decisions out of the house, and a few of our kids are a little more willing to eat things that we would maybe say, "Hey, we would prefer you don't." That's okay, they're
That's totally fine with
and
me.
some are a little more, like, disciplined in
Yeah.
this area, and
Uh-huh.
it's been interesting as they have, had that freedom, and they've just lived in the value system that we
Yeah.
have at home. We've seen that further develop for them over time
Yeah.
and, without us being heavy-handed about it, and
Uh-uh.
it's interesting how our kids you kinda mentioned this, you feel different,
Yeah.
when you eat differently, and sometimes you don't notice it when you're living in it, like, when I travel to speak, I'll have to eat out most of the time, and
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
get to eat the same. I can feel it after 2 or 3
Same.
days. And it's like, man, I'm ready to get back to the whole raw healthy foods, and our kids will feel that too when we're gone. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the the added sugar intake, the added,
Yeah.
like, processed foods and fasty food kinda things, like, and then, they notice that and say, "Oh, okay," or it's a lot easier to have weight gain when you're eating processed foods than whole healthy foods,
Mhm.
and so your kids just they see all these things and they go, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And so I would say, have some conversations, put some boundaries, give some freedom and flexibility in, once in a while. Having treats are fun. And
I
so,
like a treat.
yeah,
Treats are
so
fun.
it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be the answer. All right.
Good deal.
That does it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
We're honored to partner with Garrett and Yvette Hampton, and today I want to point you to their podcast, Schoolhouse Rocked. Each episode will help you disciple your children and capture a biblical vision for education. If you're a home educator or you've even thought about home educating your children, this podcast is for you. Their guests have incredible expertise and powerful testimonies. We've been great friends for many years, and I encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Schoolhouse Rocked is working hard to bring biblical truth to your family. You can find them on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you for listening to the Gospel Shaped Family Podcast. Please share this episode and give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts.